Hey friends, this is Jennifer Terri and welcome to my channel. In this video, we will talk about a travel requirement, yeah? But before we get into that, we'll read a story about this travel requirement. Let's go with the story of Christine. So Christine is a Filipino from the USA. So Christine and I are both members of a Facebook group page called Travel Ban Update. I read her experience and I thought that it is worth sharing to you guys so that you could avoid the same mistake that Christine had. Alright, so let's go to Christine's story. Before I proceed, I want to let you know that I asked Christine for permission for sharing her story in our channel. Alright, so let's go ahead. So sharing my experience today, supposed to be leaving from Louisville through Dallas, I wasn't informed that I would be asked for a COVID test even with just a 3-hour layover in Korea, and was only informed upon check-in. Alright, so Christine, on her date of travel to the Philippines, she didn't know that she needed a COVID test result. As a result, Christine wasn't able to board her plane that day. But what she did is she went directly to the clinic at the airport and then she did her COVID test for $150. And then the result came in quickly in 20 minutes and it came out negative. But she had to rebook. So continuing, so when I called to rebook, the best offer of earliest trip would be March the 3rd. 5 weeks from now, 5 weeks from her supposed date of travel, in that the rebooking fee will be $600. American Airlines' second offer was for February 12 at $300 rebooking fee, but only to Korea, South Korea in June. So with that, she has to book from her Korea to Manila flight, which will cost another $720. And making matters worse, with just one baggage allowed. So I need to pay an addition of $200 for my baggage. Oh my gosh. So at the end, Christine ended up making an entirely new booking for ANA Airlines on February 10 at $1,200. And not to mention rebooking my pre-booked hotel and another $150 for her COVID test. Whew, so that was a lot, friends. See, what was Christine's mistake? So what happened was she didn't know that she needed to present a negative COVID result. And as a result for that mistake, she spent a total of $1,350. So, as a conclusion said that Christine said that her advice is to call your airline before leaving. Ask what your layovers requirements are, not just your final destination. Alright, so that is Christine's story, friends. The question now is, do you need a COVID test before flying to the Philippines? So, the answer to that straight answer is that the Philippine government does not require a COVID test for arriving passengers because you will be tested when you get there. Okay, so as far as the Philippine government is concerned, you don't need a COVID test prior to your travel. However, whether you need a negative COVID result or a COVID test before your travel to the Philippines will depend on 3 things. The first thing is that your country of departure requires it. If the country you're originating from requires a COVID test, a negative COVID test, then you'll have to take the test. Second is if your airline requires it. So some airlines require a COVID test before boarding. So you cannot board a plane if you don't have the COVID test. So some airlines have that rules. If you're flying with Philippine Airlines, they don't have that. They don't require a COVID test for their passengers. If you're flying with Qatar Airways, a COVID test, an RT-PCR test is mandatory for passengers coming from certain countries. If you're flying with Etihad Airlines, a COVID test before travel is mandatory for every flight. So depending on where you are flying from or your country of origin, your test must be carried out between 48, 72, or 96 hours ahead of your flight or your flight departure time. And they also, have exemptions for this requirement. If your airline requires it, they have exemptions. Like for some airlines, they exempt children under 12 or those with severe and moderate disabilities. So you'll have to contact your airlines, guys. I think Delta Airlines does not require as well. But these things keep on changing. These rules rapidly change. So friends, my suggestion, if you already have a ticket or if you already have an airline, you've chosen an airline to fly with, please contact them. Do I need a COVID test? Do you require a COVID test before the flight? And the third factor that will influence whether you need to take a COVID test before you fly to the Philippines is that your transiting country. So again, some countries, some airports require transit passengers to undergo or to present a COVID negative result. And some airlines or some the countries only requires, some of them allows antigen tests, and some of them only accepts RT-PCR, the gold standard testing. So it really depends, guys. My best advice, if you want to know if you need a COVID test before your flight to the Philippines, you know how to contact your airline. Your airline will tell you everything, or should explain to you whether you need a COVID test before your flight. Ask them, do you require a COVID test before the flight? Does my transit country or countries require a COVID test? Okay. It is their responsibility to let you know. But some of these airlines, they don't tell you, like Christine's airline. So that is all for this video, friends. I answered the question, do you need a COVID test before your flight to the Philippines? Again, the Philippine government does not require it. However, your airline, your country of origin, or your transiting countries might require it. So the best option or the best action is to call your airlines ahead. Let's say a week, 2 weeks at least, even if you have time, a week or 2 weeks before your flight. Ask them if you need a COVID test result before the flight. Alright, so you can avoid, cancellations of your travel or spending money like Christine had to endure, spending 1,350 US dollars. Oh my gosh. So friends, call your airlines. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. I make travel updates in the Philippines. If you have any questions, guys, comment down below. And I will see you again with another update. Bye!